of love your body contains. When it does not contain any love, it may have health, it may have strength, it may have beauty, it may have enormous riches in the bank, but if it does not contain love, what happens? He sends the Lord of death and he will take away your spirit. He will take away your life. Anbiladhanai veyil vola kayume enbiladhanai aram. Why man dies? For the lack of love. Swami says, for lack of love. So, God wants only one thing. God has got only one criterion, one standard, one yardstick. What is that? How much of love your body contains. How much of love your mind contains. Your love should proceed from the Atman through the mind and to the body. And how to pray? Swami says, when you pray to the Lord, see whether there are tears in your eyes. Swami gives you indications, yardsticks for everything. Unless there are tears in your eyes, you are not worshipping. You are repeating some mantra, you are chanting some verses mechanically, like a tape recorder does, like a parrot does. Will the tape recorder go to heaven? No, it will not. It will not. In the same way, if you parrot it mechanically, hundreds of times, thousands of times, millions of times, no use. Chant the mantra only once. Chant the words, knowing the meaning and praying with your being. Then what happens? Then there are tears in your eyes. Once you have tears in your eyes, what is the indication? The indication is that your prayer has reached God and He has sent His reply. See? Every day we are giving petitions to God, but we don't know whether the petitions reached Him or it was ditched into the waste paper basket by a smaller deity. We don't know. But Swami says, if your petition reaches the ears of God, you will get the answer. How do you know whether you have got the answer? See the tears. And Swami says, tears are the greatest weapon. In fact, it is more powerful than atomic power. With all the atom bombs in the world, you cannot have the darshan of the Lord. Can you bring down Lord from the heaven? You can't. All the atom bombs in the world cannot bring down God from His highest throne. But Swami says, with your tears, you can bring down God from His highest throne. Even God Himself cannot refuse it. If a man or a woman, a son or a daughter of God, prays to God with intense feeling, with sincerity, total sincerity, I want to see you, Lord. I want to see you. When are you going to give me this darshan? I want to see you. I don't want any other things. And Swami says, if you want God and something else, it won't work. See, that is the problem with us. We want so many things. We want big bungalows, we want big cars, we want big bank balances, we want everything else, and in addition to that, we want God also. And Swami says, no, He will not come. He will not come. He is not a beggar. He cannot be equated with any other thing. And Swami says, இச்சை நின்மேல் அன்றி எனக்கு எல்லளவும் வேறொன்றில் இச்சை இலை உண்ணானை என்னருமை ஐயாவே. Oh my Father, I have no other desire in my life except seeing you. If you don't give me your darshan, I will die. Have we ever had such an intensity of desire for the darshan of God? Then you will be given a darshan of God. That's what Swami says. Swami was constantly crying. Swami was seen constantly, tears flowing down the cheeks. There were two river beds. By the constant flowing of tears upon the cheeks, there were two river beds, hollow openings on his cheeks. He was crying. And Swami says that is the easiest way to attain the divine feet of Lord. Cry for the darshan of the Lord. No amount of meditation will do the trick, but this is the shortcut. as it is recommended by Swami Ramalinga and Swami Manikavasaga. Adudal unnai peralame. By constantly crying for the darshan of the Lord, when will it happen? And Swami gives you another clue. Swami says, when there are no tears left in your body, you want to cry, but there are no tears left in the body, then what happens? God has to come. He has to come and give you His darshan, His vision. He has to come in front of you, and you can see Him face to face. So this is the form of worship. No amount of rituals, no amount of pujas, no amount of kriyas, mantras will bring down God, but your sincerity in the form of tears, it will definitely bring down God. He will make it, He will come and appear in front of you in its original form, in the form of light, of total compassion. And Swami says, the human body is blessed with 4 forms of eyes. Swami was a scientist also, and he says, my son, you have only one pair of physical eyes. In the same way, there are 3 more pairs of eyes. So, man is blessed with the 4 forms of eyes. One is the physical eye, with which you can see all the physical objects. You can see human beings, animals, trees, and chair, table, all the physical things you can see with your physical eyes. And the second form of eyes is the mental eye. With your mental eye, you can make calculations. 4 into 4 makes 16, like that. This is the mental eye. But there is yet another eye called the spiritual eye. When the spiritual eye is opened, what happens? You can see the spirit in a human being. You can see when the spirit leaves the body and the body becomes a corpse. Now, today, in every hospital, somebody is dying. But has any doctor seen the spirit leaving the body? No. No electron microscope which can detect the subatomic particles revolving around the nucleus at enormous speeds of thousands of miles per second. Even those electron microscopes, they are not able to detect the life spirit leaving the body, because the life spirit is so subtle. The size of an atom, say it is 1 billionth of the hair. And what is the size of your life? 1 billionth of atom. And what is the size of the spirit? 1 billionth of the life spirit. And what is the size of divinity? It is 1 billionth of the spirit. So it is so subtle, so refined, so small. So with these 2 eyes you cannot see. With your mental eye you cannot see. But if you want to see the spirit, you can see, provided the eye of the spirit is opened. How to open that eye of spirit? That's why Swami says, the eye of spirit can be opened in 2 ways. By constant prayer to the Lord, and by constant rendering of service to all beings, considering them as incarnations of God Himself. By constant practice of Jeevakarunya, you can open the eye of the spirit. Once the eye of spirit is opened, what happens? You can see, when you see the person, you can see not only the body, not only the mind, but also the spirit. And what is the 4th level of eyes? Swami says, beyond the eye of spirit, there is an eye called eye of compassion, total compassion. Ken Wilber, the transcendental philosopher, the psychologist, transpersonal psychologist, has come out with a big volume called Eye of the Spirit. I wrote to him, yes sir, the eye of spirit must be opened in man, but there is yet another eye. Swami Ramalinga calls it the eye of compassion. And he says, it cannot be opened by you. Swami says, the eye of compassion, the last eye, cannot be opened by human effort. It can be opened only by the God. God alone can open that eye, because once the eye of compassion is opened, what happens? Seated in one place, at one glance, you can see all that ever happened in the cosmos, all that is happening now in the cosmos, and all that is going to happen in future in the cosmos. This is called total vision, absolute vision. If you read the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Krishna opens the eye of compassion in the body of Arjuna, and he is given the Vishwarupa Darshana. That is the most wonderful passage in the entire history of mysticism. Arjuna sees all that ever happened in the universe, all that was happening now. He saw himself at one corner of the picture as people, picture in picture. You can see that in a television, picture in picture they call it. He saw himself seeing the Vishwarupa Darshana in one corner, and what is going to happen in future. All the things he was able to see in an instant, because that was the way God himself, Lord Krishna himself saw. It is possible for the human mind to achieve such a state of total vision. But Arjuna got frightened. No, I don't want you to be the Lord and show me this thing. I got frightened. You come back to me as a friend, as my brother-in-law, because he was not ready for that. There was no total compassion in the mind of Arjuna. He was a warrior. He was full of violence. And Swami says, when there is no violence in your mind, when there is no hatred in your mind, when God is satisfied and he starts believing with conviction that this human being is devoid of all sorts of evils, he is incapable of evil. See, even if he wishes to do evil, he cannot do it. That is incapacity. This human being is incapable of evil like Christ, like a Buddha. Then what happens? God invests that person with the eye of compassion. Then that eye of compassion opens. What happened? He can see all the entire cosmos. Andagodi anaithum kaanum kangal eidine, says God invested me with this eye of compassion. With that I was able to see billions and billions of galaxies. Not only the galaxies and all the beings that are dwelling there in those galaxies. I had such a vast sight. All these things are possible with the human beings, but provided you have the qualification for the capacity of total love and compassion. That is why Swami places so much of importance on Jeevakarunya. What is Jeevakarunya? Being always in love with other beings and rendering service by all means in your capacity. Because without this yoga of love and compassion, the eye of compassion will never be opened for you. Without the eye of compassion, you cannot have this Vishwarupa Darshana. You cannot see God in the form of the light of compassion, Arupperum Jyoti. Unless you see Lord in the form of the light of compassion, you cannot conquer death. There is only one way to conquer death. And Swami comes out with that. See the Lord in the true form of light of compassion, total compassion. Arupperum Jyoti. Here, Arupperum Jyoti, Arupperum Jyoti, Thanipperum Karunai, Arupperum Jyoti. God has been defined as light right from the days of Moses. Moses saw God in the form of light in a bush. If you read the Old Testament, you will come to know that. In the Vedas, it is stated that the light of consciousness is the source of all the lights of the sun, moon, stars and Agni, fire. All these are physical lights. All these physical lights, they get their source, their energy from the light of consciousness. And what is that light of consciousness? Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnana means total consciousness, absolute consciousness. That consciousness is in the form of light. Knowledge is light. And Swami says, unfortunately, the scientists are not able to understand. They think heat is only physical heat. They think light is only physical light. But Swami says, there are degrees of heat. There are degrees of love. This body Now what you are looking at, when you are looking at me, you are seeing only the concrete body. This is called Stula Deha. Stula means concrete, physical. Inside this Stula Deha, physical body, there is the mind or subtle body. It is invisible. The function of the subtle body is dreaming. Who is dreaming? The subtle body is dreaming. It is roaming around the world without your permission. So that is the functioning of the subtle body. But your soul, it is called causal body. There are three bodies. This is physical body, subtle body and causal body. In the same way, there are three forms of heat. Physical heat. We are getting physical heat from the sun. We are getting physical heat from the fire. We are getting physical light from the sun. We are getting physical light from the fire. In the same way, there are forms of subtle heat and subtle light, and causal heat and causal power. What is subtle heat? Love is the subtle heat. Swami calls it Ira Nerupu. Swami calls Ira Nerupu. What is Ira Nerupu? Nerupu means fire. Ira means cold fire. Cold fire. What is cold fire? Your love is cold fire. When there is love in your mind, what happens? Your body cools down. When there is hatred, violence in your body, what happens? Your mind is agitated. Your body comes to a boil. If your body becomes heated. But when there is love in your body, what happens? It cools down. But it is subtle fire. And it is subtle form of light. And what is the causal heat? And what is the causal light emanating from that causal heat? It is compassion. Compassion is the ultimate form of heat from which the entire cosmos was created. And Swami says compassion is the ultimate form of light. That is providing light even to the sun. That is providing light even to the moon. That is providing light to fire, Agni. That is the causal heat. Compassion is the causal heat. Compassion is the causal light from which all forms of heat, all forms of light are emanations only. So Swami asks you to get that causal heat, to get that causal light. Then what happens? All the blemishes, all the limitations, all your past karma will evaporate. When the sun comes, what happens? All the dew on the blades of grass, they simply evaporate. In the same way, if you can practice Jeevakarunya up to the level of compassion, what happens? All your karma, all your past karma, which you have collected all through innumerable births, even your original sin, all the things will be evaporating. Once you have that causal heat, once you have that causal light, and Swami answers the question which is posed by modern science. What does modern science say? Why does man die? Science says, physics says, there is a law called the second law of thermodynamics. It is called the law of entropy. If you go through physics, you can see that there is a division called dynamics, thermodynamics. Thermo means heat. Dynamics, the movement. So, the second law of thermodynamics states, all the things, all the beings in the world, they are constantly losing their heat. What does the law states? It's something like the law of destiny or the law of fate. One can never escape fate. We are bound to die. Death is a certain fact. That is what we are witnessing now as a fact. And science says this law of fate can be translated into scientific terms. What is that? The second law of thermodynamics or the law of entropy. E-N-T-R-O-P-Y. The law of entropy. No one can escape this law of entropy. If you can escape from this law of entropy, you can escape death. Scientifically. According to our legend, the Lord of Death comes to you and he throws his ring of rope around your neck, and he hangs you and takes out the outcoming spirit and goes away. That is his birthright. This is legend. Alright. But science cannot accept this. Science says there is a law as strong as the law of gravitation. Whatever object you throw up in the air, what happens? It immediately falls down into the ground. So the law of gravitation is constantly functioning. Even the planets, even the galaxies cannot escape this law of gravitation. In the same way, even the sun cannot escape this second law of thermodynamics called the law of entropy. What does it state? It states every object is constantly losing its heat. Even the sun is constantly losing its heat, and at one time or another, perhaps after millions of years, it will turn into a black hole. There won't be any heat left in the sun, and it will turn into a black hole, because even the sun cannot escape the second law of thermodynamics of the universe. It is inbuilt in the very structure of the universe. And the scientists, including Stephen Hawking, they say no one can escape this second law of thermodynamics, this second law of entropy, the law called entropy. You are constantly losing it. Heat, every day you are losing heat. Your body fights against the second law of thermodynamics each and every moment. Now our body is constantly losing heat. You take a piece of coal, ignited, heated to a fluorescent state, to a brilliant state. What happens? You place it on a table. Now the heat is here. Now the lamp is there, the fire is there, and after some time, say 2 hours or 3 hours, what happens? When the oil is not there, what happens? The fire is extinguished. When the oil is not there, the lamp goes, the light goes, it is gone. Why? The outside atmosphere is constantly sucking the heat from the lamp. In the same way, there is a fire here inside the forehead. That is our life spirit. Actually, when Swami gave us this lamp, this box of a tin-like lamp, he meant this. This human head is represented by this lamp. This human head is represented by this lamp. As you see the tiny lamp there, we have a light here inside our forehead, at the center of our brain, at the center of our crown. That is our Sitsabha, that is our spirit. That is our spirit. It is also a kind of fire, and it is also constantly battling the second law of thermodynamics. It does not want to lose its heat. So, if you want that light not to go away, what have you to do? You have to keep on pouring oil into the lamp. Without the oil, without the fuel, the fire cannot go on. The lamp cannot go on shining. You have to pour oil into that. And what is the oil with which you can light this lamp and keep on keeping it going on, keeping it burning? What is the oil? Please listen to me carefully. This is of utmost importance. Swami gives you the clue. Now this lamp, which is inside the forehead, is also a fire. It can be sustained provided you give it oil. You pour oil under its roots. What is that oil? Here, this lamp can be lit. It can be continuously lit by pouring oil. If you add oil to that, it will go on. It cannot be extinguished. But what is the oil with which you can prolong the fire in your life spirit? What is that oil? Swami says love, 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 nothing but love. Nothing but love. No amount of your yoga, no amount of your meditation, no amount of any contemplation can do that. Love, love, love. Love is the only oil that can sustain your life spirit. That can prolong the duration, the life of that lamp. In two ways you can do that. Worship God here, inside your forehead. When you go to a Christian priest, you ask him to bless you. What does he do? What does he do? You kiss his ring. What does he do? He blesses you. How does he bless you? He places the cross in your forehead. Here, he places. Why? This is the place where your spirit dwells, where God dwells. So, worship the Lord inside the forehead. You can worship your God in the form of Christ, or Allah, or Shiva, or Vishnu, or any type of God, provided you imagine that God inside your forehead and worship Him there. Then what happens? You are pouring the oil of love towards your own spirit. That is what Swami says. So, this is the technique. How to combat this law of entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. How to provide heat to your self, which is constantly losing its heat. One day, the entire heat will be taken away and the fire will be extinguished. Let me give you an example. Now, you have borrowed an amount from a Multani, a money lender, and you have to say 1,000 rupees. For that, you have to give him interest, say 20 rupees every day. Okay, but if you are able to earn 2,000 rupees every day, do you have to worry about it? What is the expenditure? 20 rupees. What is the earnings? 2,000 rupees. What is the savings? 1,800 and 980 rupees. So, the savings keep on accumulating. If we can prolong this thing, if we can go on like this, do you have to worry about losing the money? One day you will repay the debt and you will become richer. Okay. And how to do that? And Swami says, there are denominations in money. We know. 20 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees. There are denominations in wealth. In the same way, Swami says scientifically, there are denominations in heat and light. What are the denominations in heat? You are losing heat, physical heat you are losing, say about 20 rupees. But you are gaining subtle heat in the form of love. You are gaining causal heat in the form of devotion. When you are rendering service to other beings, you are earning the subtle heat through acts of Jeevakarunya. When you are considering thy neighbor as an incarnation of God and with reverence, with devotion, you are doing the service, then what happens? You don't have to go to the temple. You find the temples all over the place. Your own dog, pet dog, your own cow, everything becomes an incarnation of God. Then you are doing service. You are doing puja to God. So every place becomes your temple. Every object and every being becomes the temple of God. So you are always undergoing a devotional state. Then you are creating what? You are creating by your act of compassion the causal heat, which is like making millions of rupees. Each and every moment you are losing 20 rupees of physical heat. Your law of entropy is taking from your body just 20 rupees of physical heat, but by your act of Jeevakarunya and devotion, you are making money to the tune of 20,000, 2 million, like that. So, this is the best form of combating this law of entropy, and one day you will conquer it. You will not be combating only, you will conquer it. So, what the scientists don't know about the law of entropy that is causing death, Swami says it is possible through the act of love and Jeevakarunya and compassion. So, being compassionate towards other beings is not an act of waste. It is the ultimate boon one can learn from these masters like Swami Ramalinga, Christ and Buddha and Bhagwan Ramana. So what is the one thing we should learn in this life? How to love others, how to be always in love, and how to extend that love into the region of compassion. That's why Swami says, Arivu Vilangiya Jeevarunya. For the intelligent beings, not for the unintelligent beings, but for all intelligent beings, what is worship? Worship is rendering service to all the downtrodden people and to the animals and all the lower forms of beings. All beings. Arivu Vilangiya Jeevarunya Jeevakarunyame Vadivadu. What is the worship as far as the intelligent beings are concerned? It is doing service to all the beings. Jeevakarunyame Moksha Vitin Tharavo. The key that could open the doors of the house of Lord. What is that? It is total compassion. As it was advocated by Lord Buddha, as it was advocated by Lord Christ, and as it was advocated by Swami Ramalinga. So, here, Tundru Mala Vemmaye Atru Velikku Ulveli Gadandu Summayirukkum Sugam. How do you attain that? We are coming back to the place where we started. Tundru Mala means Anavam. You have to get rid of that I consciousness and mind consciousness. Vemmaye. Vemmaye means that Maya means the world, attraction of the world. In ever so many ways, the world is constantly attracting our attention, and we should avoid this attraction of the world, and we should concentrate inside. We should learn to focus our attention inside. What is meditation? Trying to focus your attention inside. When you focus your attention inside, what happens? And Swami says, there are many spaces. Physical space, you have to cross. Cross the boundaries of physical space. When you cross the physical space, then what happens? You got Chitta.